Hi, good evening. Excuse me. I just first want to say that I might have to end this video a bit quickly because I'm expecting guests for our semi-weekly role-playing game sessions, so when the doorbell rings I have to go. Anyway, I watched your video. This is a video response to DrawingKenaz on her video about the ethics of mining crystals. And I think it was a very good video. It addressed a topic, a concern, which isn't discussed that much within pagan and occult circles. And perhaps it should be. It is definitely, first of all, if you look at the cost to Mother Earth herself, there's definitely a cost to mining for crystals. It do damage, and while some mining techniques are more eco-friendly than others, some are really do a lot of harm. And in a way it is a bit ironic that some of the tools that we use as pagans, especially since many of us have a very earth-centric view to our religion, that it's the Mother Earth we are trying to honor, that we are trying to keep her safe. But at the same time, so many of the tools we use we harm her in obtaining, and it is a bit ironic. Personally, I'm crazy about crystals. I have a lot of them, and perhaps I should. Perhaps as pagans, the responsible thing would be to just get the crystals we need and not more. I mean, we do not need 10, 20, 30 crystals of the same type. A few rose quartz or amethysts and so on should suffice. Most neo-pagans I know have amasses after a while enormous crystal collections. As do I. I'm as guilty of this as anyone. And perhaps that's not the morally correct thing to do. Perhaps we should limit ourselves to the crystals we see a need for in our craft. Because it is no other way around it. These crystals are being mined. The earth is being harmed because there are a market for it. And one of the biggest markets for crystals are New Agers, occultists, and pagans. Of course, I do think, and I have no scientific data on this, or I don't really have much knowledge in which groups buy the most crystals, but I would assume that the biggest customers are jewelry production. But there are a fair number of people who are into these alternative practices who uses crystals in their craft, so it's not insignificant. And if all of us just bought the crystals that we need to do our work, how many that might be. For some, one good rock crystal point might be it. For others, they need a lot because they do crystal layouts and so on. So I'm not gonna set a set number. You should only have so many crystals, but limit yourself to what you need instead of buying crystals left and right. Of course, then the demand for crystals would go down. It will probably make crystals more expensive, but it might make a difference. Then you also have to consider the human cost of this. Like you said, it's mostly with the more high-end stones, but also with some others, where people are being literally worked to death in mines to produce these stones. And some stones, garnets, diamonds, and so on, they could literally have been taken from a dead child's hand. So, yes, they are definitely a concern that questions one should ask oneself when one buys crystals. Now, personally, am I going to stop buying more crystals and rocks? No. I guess I'm too addicted to them. And, but I have to say that, yes, I do have concerns about the collection I'm building, and I think perhaps it's not the most ethical thing to do. But and I know this is wrong, it makes me the bad guy, but to me I'm thinking there's so many troubles in the world. I mean, I have two laptops. This one which I use for all sort of YouTube and so on, and one which is basically used for movies and such. Watching movies. It has a great screen, and well, you not get to hear about my laptops. But anyway, I didn't technically need a second laptop. And while this isn't an expensive laptop per se, still it could have saved the life of several kids. But now I hear my guest, so I'm gonna have to make this part 1, and I'll make a video response part 2 later. At least I think that's my guess. Anyway, just very quickly, I could have saved kids in, for example, poverty-stricken parts of Africa for the cost of this computer, but I choose to have this luxury for myself instead. I don't necessarily see that being worse than buying crystals, or better. There are so much, and if you excuse the language, shit going on in the world that I've become a bit distant from it. I sort of turn a blind eye, and that is wrong, I know, but at the same time, if I'm going to think like that I'm not gonna allow myself any luxury or anything that might have caused damage to others, then I have to look at, do I really need a new computer game? Shouldn't I send that money down to save some hungry kids? And so on. And I guess I'm not selfless enough to do that. But yes, I really loved the video, and I guess my main thing I wanted to add in my reply was that I share your concerns, and I think this is a thing that should be discussed more. But at the same time, the world has so many troubles, and with danger of being sounding cold, I personally don't feel called to save the world. Yes, I do try when I can to buy crystals from places I know people are not being exploited, and that uses as mild methods of mining as possible. But do I at the time buy stones that could be negative in the way that I could have there could be terrible labor conditions and they have been mined very irresponsibly? Yeah, I do. And that is morally wrong, and I recognize that, but at the same time, isn't spending money on luxuries here in the rich West, when that money could have been sent down to build wells, start schools. There are a lot of things $10 could do in the developing world. And there's my guest, so I have to go. Bye, and blessed be.